What's going on, y'all? So, I don't really have like a Bible verse to share or anything right now, but I was just driving from church and I was on my doing my little daily trip to Barnes and Nobles, and I got kind of emotional cuz I I was just thinking about like the faithfulness of God, and it's crazy that in worship today at church, the last song they did in the set was "Great Is Thy Faithfulness," and um, I sang the song, and I was really, that's one of my favorite songs right now. But and then I left church, and I'm coming here, and I started to think, right? And I got in my car, and I was just kind of talking with God. I'm like, yo, God, like I'm oddly happy, like I'm oddly at peace, like I'm oddly content with just where I'm at right now. And then I was like, how can that be? That I, how can I be content right now? Like, and I started thinking about my circumstances, and I started to think about, you know, my job situation not being where I wanted to be, fighting addictions, fighting all different types of stuff, fighting loneliness, just fighting so much different stuff. And I'm out here, and it can feel overwhelming at times, but somehow, by His faithfulness, I have this level of peace and contentment that does go way beyond my understanding, because my understanding of it is these are my circumstances, so I must feel a certain way. But really, like, evaluating and realizing that I don't feel anxious, I don't feel these things for the first time. And I was just like, man, He is so faithful. Because, and I always go back to Psalm 119, where it said, in the CSB version, it says, how happy are those whose way is blameless. And then in Psalm 128, it says, happy are those who fear the Lord. And I just been trying my best with the Holy Spirit's empowerment to walk in that fear of the Lord, because and I did it because I wanted to try. Like when people say like, well, try, almost like testing Him, but not in a way of like testing, are you real or not? No, but it's like your word says this, so I'm gonna keep you at your word, right? And I took the approach of, if your word says, "Happy are those who fear you," then I'm going to fear you, and I'm going to obey you more than these other things that I've been fearing and been obeying. And I'm going to see if your word, which says that it produces happiness, if that is going to be the outcome. And I just got emotional at how faithful He has been to not, I'm not talking about changing the circumstances, right? Because circumstances change every day, ups and downs. There's ups and downs to everything. But I'm talking about His faithfulness to provide happiness and peace in the valley, or whatever the space you are in at the moment. And I was reading Exodus 33 yesterday, and Moses, he's one of my favorite characters in the Bible as a whole. But Moses was talking with God, and him and Moses, and God and Moses had such a personal relationship, um, and I aspired to that type of relationship. But Moses was adamant about at telling God, if you are not going to be with me and with us, then I don't even want to go to that land that you're talking about, right? And God's saying, it's a land of milk and honey. And God was like, but Israel is such a stiff necked people. Like, I can't go with them, but go to this place. Um, and Moses is like, no, we are not gonna go there if you are not with us, right? And that just is, no matter where the circumstances take you, whether they look good or they don't look good, none of it's worth it if God is not with you, if God is not right next to you, or in Exodus case, or in Moses case, God going before you, right? into these places and these spaces that you're walking into. And so, yeah, I was just driving and I got so teary eyed because I'm like, man, there's nothing in my life right now that should look like that I'm happy or at peace. And if you ask me, oh, what's going on in your life right now, I could tell you all the negative things, but I just have nothing but just I can't even explain it. That's why I know it's God, because it's that peace that passes understanding. Like I genuinely do not understand where this is coming from. Um and I can only attribute it to stepping out on faith and stepping and holding God to his word, and knowing that obedience and the fear of the Lord produces um, some level of happiness, because that's what the word said. And so, again, I'm not talking about my circumstances, because that could change tomorrow. So many things could change by tomorrow, right? But my relationship with him and how close I walk with him um, doesn't have to change. So, if that's the case, then my peace and my emotions that are going to change with the wind don't have my emotions don't have to control me. His peace can be a part of my life. And so I know that was all over the place. I just had this kind of moment right now, and so I was like, let me just get on here and say that. And so I would encourage anybody wondering, like, man, I've been following God, or I've been trying to follow God, and I still feel this way. um I would take Psalm 128, I believe it is. I would take Psalm 128 at its word. And when it says happy or blessed, whatever translation you read, blessed or happy are those who fear the Lord. I would take that. I would take him at his word on that, and I would try God. I would try God. I would try Jesus Christ, and see where that takes you. And I promise you, he honors obedience, and he can't go against himself and what he desires. So, um, yeah, sorry if that's all over the place, but happy Sunday, y'all, and blessings. Peace.